Assalamu alaikum. So, after a long time, right? How was your Eid? I hope it was as fabulous as it was of us. So, I have missed coming on live, and as I wait for some people to come in, I think I'm live already. So, as I wait for some of you to jump in, I wanted to share a little bit of our Eid because this is the first time I gave kurbani. Okay, so I feel like an adult and very much like adulty, and like life is working pretty well and whatnot. So alhamdulillah. Before I jump in, I want to let you guys know that today I am going to talk about a very interesting topic, which if you listen very carefully until the end, will change your life. Let me know, whoever you are, that you are with you. Let me know in the comment who you are. Say salam, say hi, so that I know and I can welcome you into our today's session of Tuesdays with Dr. T. So today I'm talking about how changing food or changing diet has changed our life as a neurodiverse adult, and also for my kids. Okay, so before jumping into that, what is food habit? What do I mean by food habit, and how is it connected to neurodiverse people? Okay, so neurodiversity or neurodiverse people is actually are people who have neurodiverse brain. So your child, if your child has autism or ADHD, they are neurodiverse. So I myself am a neurodiverse adult. I have been neurodiverse since I remember. Okay, so when I was younger, food was exactly what mom gave me to eat. I didn't have choice. I didn't have ways on how and what should I eat and what not. But as I grew older, I learned science. I learned, from magazines and diet culture and everything in between. I tried a lot of things. I got my own ideas. I learned about my body. So with that knowledge, when I started working on Muhammad, I first thought the best way to deal this would be to test it on myself. Okay, so if you are a parent who is thinking that you know that carbohydrate, that rice, that breads are very important part of the diet, because in school, in nutrition, what we learn that carbohydrate is the base, right? We learn it's like a pillar, right? So we learn that carbohydrate is the base of the food chain. Our diet should be predominantly rich in carbohydrate, then there should be protein, then fat, then vitamins and minerals, right? So what happens is the carbohydrates, being the major part of what we are supposed to eat, needs a lot of enzymes, a lot of various types of digestive process for us to be able to digest it properly. Okay, the thing is, we as humans, we don't think much carefully about diet. We feel like, let's just eat the bread, let's just eat a bowl of rice. And Assalamu alaikum Afrozapu, thank you for coming. So we think like, let's just eat rice, let's just eat the bread and everything, and since I'm pooping, so everything is being digested. That's not the case. Whenever our children or whenever we as adults poop, that does not necessarily mean that whatever you have eaten was digested properly. Okay, so today, if some of you have joined in late, so I want to reiterate. So today we are talking about how changing food can change your life as a neurodiverse person. Okay, so I will be talking a little bit about the background of how I came into this arena, how I changed the diet and food and everything in between. The next thing that I'm going to talk about is what are the shifts that I made myself. The third thing that I will talk about is the results that I got from this diet change. And the fourth point, which I highly suggest you to stick to the end, is how you can achieve all of those goals for yourself and your kid. Sounds like fun? So let's begin. Okay, so as I was saying with Muhammad, as he was really struggling, he was very much struggling, very much angry, very much anxious about 2 years ago. So I started my research on him, because I am not an autism expert. I was not an autism expert, right? And my educational background was not autism. It was in pharmacy. So I know I was very much highly educated in natural medicine, in pharmacy, in anatomy and physiology, pharmacology, all of those jazz, okay? But I didn't have any idea about autism, just like you might not have when you first got the diagnosis from the doctors that your child has autism, right? So I started research, and then because I was taught from the very early of my life that rice is the most important part of my diet, that roti, rice, bread, all of those things, the carbs are very much important part of my diet. So I was skeptical, just like you would have been if I told you that go grain-free for your child's improvement, right? So I was skeptical, just like you are, or you were on the journey. So I thought, before I want to try it on Muhammad, I want to try it on myself, because I'm a neurodiverse myself, okay? So I was roughly postpartum, very much tired, 20 kg overweight. I would have very bad eczema, okay? So I started the intolerance diet, or elimination diet. So what is the elimination diet? It's basically any food component that we know can cause intolerance or allergic reactions or indigestion. We avoid those food for a certain period of time, okay? And then we reintroduce those foods slowly, one by one, to know whether that my body is reacting to it or not, okay? So in intolerance, or typically the elimination diet says that you should not do dairy, you should not do grains or glutens, wheat-based products. Wheat-based products are what? Roti, biscuits, bread and things, pasta and things like that, right? Okay, so those things, dairy, cut off. Then nightshade vegetables like brinjal, eggplant, or begun as we call in Bengali. So begun, tomatoes, eggs, and a lot of other stuff. So trying that diet was really hard for me, because I was breastfeeding, and then I would get hungry, I would get cranky, I would get lethargic and whatnot. But I, as a very, very serious person, I took this very seriously. So I was like, I want to go until the end and see the result myself before I want to try it on Muhammad, okay? So Alhamdulillah, I stuck for 3 weeks, the hardest 3 weeks of my life, because it's harder than Ramadan, because in Ramadan, if you are fasting the whole day, in the evening when you break fast, you can eat anything that you want. But for me, I was like, in the elimination diet that I tried for myself, and later on I tried for Muhammad, I was like, I cannot survive on just chicken and fish and vegetables and some fruits, not all fruits, some fruits. Those are the things that were available for me on the diet. So I tried for 3 weeks, and after that I reintroduced dairy. You know what happened? On the first week, it was little tough. I was tired, I was cranky, I was anxious and whatnot. But by the end of the second week, I started feeling clear in, like, let's say if your eyes are hazy and foggy, you will not see things clearly, right? But when I give you a clean eyeglass like this, then you see everything clearly. So that's what I felt when I was about the second week, end of second week on the elimination diet. And I was like, wow. And the constant thudding in my head, the headache, the body aches, the bloating, the feeling of tiredness, fatigue, and very much lethargic, all of those things just vanished. And I felt light, I felt happy, I felt energetic, and it was awesome. Okay, so that's how I decided that if as a 20, I was what, 32-year-old when I was starting with Muhammad. Assalamu alaikum Lucky Appu and Rakiba Appu, thank you for coming in. Let me know in the comment if this is resonating with you. We are talking about how changing food can change your life as a neurodiverse person. Okay, and stick to the very end. Stay with me until the end, because I will give you some very important tips on how you can do that for yourself. Okay, all right. So after that change, I saw the radical differences and whatnot, and then I shifted the diet for Muhammad. So what I did for him was, first I started with just gluten-free, okay, because he was very much into rice and also into roti and bread and things like that, shuji. Because in Bangladesh, we feed our kids a lot of shuji, right? Shuji with milk, like semolina. It's called semolina in English. So semolina with milk, or porridge, or breads and things like that. Those are the stuff that we feed our kids. So we don't even understand that dairy, that gluten or grains are actually pretty bad for our kids, especially on the spectrum. Why? Because the neurodiverse people essentially lacks in a lot of important enzymes that is important, that is very much necessary and important for digesting food properly. So if you are taking a food, you know, if you are chewing it and then you are just eating it, you might not even think what are the steps that are happening inside the body, right? But trust me, there are thousands of steps that's happening inside the body when we eat a food. So if our body don't have the enzyme, don't have the condition to digest the food properly, then the food actually becomes toxin. The undigested food goes into the large intestine, and then it starts rotting, it starts breeding, it starts getting more bad bacteria and pathogens and fungus and candida and worms and things like that. So a major reason why your child, if your child is on the spectrum, that's why you are here, right, in the group. So if your child is on the spectrum and if you are having constipation, very hard stool, angry kid, constipation in a sense like maybe your child is pooping after a few days, maybe your child has a lot of worms, you know, worms in the stomach and everything. Worms doesn't stay in the stomach, it stays in the large intestine predominantly, okay? So if your child is suffering all of those things, you definitely need to take care of the diet part, okay? So by changing first slowly and steadily, that's how you change the diet for your child. And if your child is very much picky, that's when we come with our help, because picky eating needs professional help from inside and out, okay? So if your child is super picky, that's when you need to address it more medically, because picky eating doesn't occur because your child is autistic. Picky eating doesn't occur because your child's personality is being picky. If your child is on the spectrum, if your child has ADHD or ASD, then your child is picky because of the gut imbalance, which creates a lot of, you know, sensory issues and stuff like that. So I changed the gluten-free diet. I changed him into gluten-free diet first, and then I removed milk. I switched the regular cow's milk with plant-based milk, and then slowly I stopped grain altogether, and we started doing some sort of detoxification on him, as well as we changed a lot of lifestyle and stuff like that, okay? So the most fabulous part is you can do it at home on your own very easily, okay? And the fact that our children are always labeled as autistic and nothing to be done and it's a disability, it's all BS. Because I have seen time and time again that we are changing the trajectory of nonverbal kids all the time inside our program, okay? So if it was just about me or my son, then I might not have been this confident. But alhamdulillah, we see it you know, changing the trajectory of the entire family's life of every single client, of every single student that we work with. So I want to give you this gift today because this is summer and it's the perfect time to start a detoxification diet, because summer is actually the nature's way of killing bad bacteria, nature's way of killing the prevalent stuff, and also nature's way of cleaning, clarifying, detoxification. So summer is actually the detoxification phase of nature, and your child's body is actually geared up for that. And also summer means in the Western Hemisphere where we are, Canada, America, USA, UK, all you peoples are actually at home right now with your kids, because kids are not having school. They are at home mostly. So that's the best time for you to change diet, because your child will not be exposed to food that you are trying to avoid. Let me say it again. If your child is at home predominantly, then this is the best time to change the diet, because your child will not be exposed to different foods that you are not willing to try for him at that moment. Let's say if it was not summer, if it's just any other season and your child is going to school and you want to change diet into grain-free, into milk-free and stuff like that, then it would be a little hard for you. Why? Because let's say you are giving the right food at home, but when your child goes to school, his friends will have different tiffins. His peers will have different sort of lunches, and then he might feel bored with his own food, and then he would be like, I want to try pizza rather than the porridge that mommy has made for me, right? So summer is actually the best time for you to start the detoxification journey, and start it nice and slow, and go with the pace that you feel comfortable for yourself and for your child. And of course, if you are on the verge of needing more help, then you know where to find us. We are here always for you. So let me tell you the results that I got from this experiment. So when I first did this, it was about 2.5 years ago. So except for this live, I was planning this live for about 2 weeks now. So what I did was I forgot a lot of the feelings that I felt when I was on the bad diet, So what I did, I started eating all the things that I stopped eating, because I know those are not good for me and my son. So I started eating them. I started eating bagels. I started eating breads. I started eating cheese, because I wanted to get the first-hand feeling of how bad it makes me feel, so that I can share with you today how much food can really and actually impact your child, and the child's focus, the child's ability to understand you and the world, the child's ability to have a good mood and not feel depressed or upset every single time here and there and whatnot. So in my recent experiment, when I started eating all those things, I didn't feel good. I don't feel good at all now. So today what I did is I am going to kind of throw away all my food, because I'm done with the experiment. Even though bread, pawruti, biscuits, rice, or milk-based stuff feels good to eat, or maybe you know that this is the #1 food for you, for your child on the spectrum, it's not, because your child's body is not equipped properly to digest the milk-based products, to digest the gluten based product, to digest the grain-based products, okay? Because of the way that food is cultivated these days, there are more pesticides, there are more chemicals in the food, so there are added load on that, okay? So there are added load on all the toxins that your child is exposed to based on food, okay? Food preferences. So coming back to the feeling of how I was feeling very, very douchey, very, very depressed. Every morning when I woke up, I would feel like there is no one in this world for me, just like I used to feel my entire life, literally. When I was a kid, I didn't understand that people don't feel that way, okay? Because neurodiverse kids have really hard time with their emotions, okay? So I would always feel sad. I would always feel like I will die one day, and then I will feel like maybe I have a big bad disease that, you know, like cancer, like suddenly at the end of my life my parents will find that I have cancer. Because I knew, you know, even your kids, even if they are nonverbal, they know it deep down that there is something wrong with them. There is something wrong inside, because other people's don't feel all those depressive thoughts like we neurodiverse peoples do feel, okay? And a lot of that feelings are directly connected to the food that we eat, the food that we consume, the food that we think that is good for us. Actually, no, okay? So I am going to stop all those grains, all those glutens. I'm only going to be eating long grain basmati rice, because that's really easy to be digested. And the only 3 dairy that your child can really eat properly and that will actually help him are yogurt, ghee and butter. These 3 are the only dairy product that your child can eat. All the other types of dairy your child cannot eat, because all of those things he cannot digest. So about butter, about ghee and about yogurt, they do not contain casein, which is yogurt has casein, but the casein is digested well by the microbials, by the bacteria present in the yogurt, okay? And as for butter and ghee, even though they are dairy, but they do not have the protein casein, which your child can't digest, okay? All right. So about the grain, or usually the gluten-based food, they have gluten, which your child's body cannot digest. And so gluten becomes gluteomorphine, and the casein from the dairy becomes caseomorphine. And all those morphines, you know very well what morphine is. Morphine is a psychoactive agent, and morphine is addictive. It's a lot like heroin, and you all know what heroin does to a body, to a mind, to a brain. So essentially, if we are feeding grains and glutens and milk to our child, we are actually making them addictive. We are destroying their brain. We are destroying their capacity to learn, because 0 to 7 is the age when the brain develops properly. So this is the time when the brain cells are actually developing. So when we are not giving them the right solution, the right nutrients, the brain cells cannot develop properly, and that's when the child cannot speak, that's when the child cannot communicate, that's when the child cannot focus, have attention, can sit straight, have, hyperactivity, sleep problem, irritability, emotional problem, and all those jazz that we know as our child to be having, because we are the mothers or the fathers, and we know very well the system or the stuff that our children goes through, okay? So now, since you have been here till the end, I want to give you ways that you can do all this on your own. So the first thing that you want to do is literally cut cow's milk out of the diet. The raw, liquid cow's milk or Pediasure or, stuff like that, the milk-based products that you feed your child. Stop all those things. Stop outside food. Don't take your child on a walk beside all those, shops, because anywhere you go, whether you are in Bangladesh, whether you are in Australia, whether you are in Canada, shops tend to have all the chocolates and chips and all those rubbish right at the front door. So even when you are crossing the bazaar or you are crossing the shop, your child will see all those things and start asking for them. So what I did was I stopped taking Muhammad to grocery shopping. I would either buy online, because I was able to in Canada, or I would send my husband with a list and I would tell him to not buy anything outside of that list. So if your child, if you have chips, chocolates, Coca-Colas and stuff like that and sugars in your pantry, in your home, then your child will definitely understand that those food are there, available, and they will find it. Trust me, they will find it. You might think that they don't understand anything, but they are the best investigators in the world. They are little Hercule Poirots. They are little, who is the best detective? I can't remember, Sherlock Holmes. And they will find out the sugar, they will find out the chips, they will find out the biscuits in your home, the chanachurs and everything that you feed your child. Okay, your child will find all of those scraps, and then you will be able to, you will be forced to give him that. Okay, so stop buying all those things. Reciprocate or change the, alter the food that you regularly use for your child. For example, if you give him noodles, wheat-based noodles, you can try gluten-free noodles. There are lots of variations now available all throughout the world. You can also try making your own gluten-free stuff. So gluten is not present in rice. So rice-based products are a lot better than wheat-based products, okay? Rice-based products are way better than wheat-based products. So when you are shifting the diet, the first thing that you need to change is the going back to the wheat part, okay? And then removing dairy, removing outside food, removing sugars and everything. That's the diet part. And then you need to support your child's internal detoxification system. That's a tricky one, and actually that should not be tried like a trial and error on your own if you do not have medical background. Okay, a lot of moms, we love to DIY things, do it yourself. That's fine. If you see some hubby cook something, you want to cook on your own, that's fine. That's a cool DIY. But if you are seeing some kids going through detoxification under professionals, but you want to try that and you want to save the money and you want to try it at home, and you are buying medicines and stuff like that, that's not right. Because you need to have pretty good understanding of the internal physiological aspects of a child to be able to give him detoxification support. Okay, the softer approach that you can try at homes are, bitter gourd juice or karela juice, aloe vera, neem juice and stuff like that, but those are not palatable. You cannot feed your child neem juice. If you can feed, then you are a super mom and your child is a super kid. Let me know in the comments, or show me a picture that you are feeding your child all those things, and I would be like, oh my god, I really need to learn super mommy giri from you. Okay, other than that, the detoxification is very, very, very important part, because when you stop giving your child the food that your child cannot digest, then your child's body gets time to start detoxification on its own. Okay, so when your child's body is detoxing, what happens is your child's body is releasing a lot of toxins. And if your child's body cannot release those toxins from the body safely and effectively, then your child will be actually stuck in a system. Okay, your child will be stuck in a system, like he will be very angry, very irritated, and then you will give in to the previous food. That happens a lot of the time. So you need to have a sound system for detoxification as well, to support your child's immunity, digestive power and things like that. And definitely you can see tremendous results when you just shift from wheat to gluten-free and from dairy to non-dairy. These two differences will give you a lot of in-depth learnings, will give you a lot of understanding of your child's digestive power. And as I was saying, summer is the best time for you to embark on a journey. And if you do not want to waste time, energy, money on trying it on your own and seeing whether it sticks or not, then you can join our program. We have a summer promotion going on. We are giving 1 month bonus for everybody who's joining us. And definitely it's the best way to give the all-rounded approach, because you need to know your child very carefully. You need to be the expert of your child. Your child's body and brain, they are all connected. If you feel like from outside you can take him to places and people can try to make him like a parrot, you know, mimicking, like say all these words, do all these things, that's not how your child is going to learn. Your child will learn to speak, to regulate emotions, to do all the stuff that regular people does when the brain works properly. And you cannot teach the brain to work from outside if the brain is not understanding things. It's a lot like you are taking a small child and you are trying to teach him maybe, you know, computer or French and stuff like that, which the child doesn't even understand. Like, what is he saying? The child's brain is not understanding the stuff that you're telling him to do. Your child's brain is not understanding or getting the information that you're asking the brain to compute. Okay, so your child does not need to be autistic, does not need to be destined for disability. There are lots of things that you can do. You can try at home, start, and if you feel like you need the best professional support, then we are here for you. And this is the best time for you because you are obviously mostly at home, and then it's summer, you have vacations going on, and then this is the best time also because nature is preparing your child and your body also for the detoxification, because summer is nature's detoxification phase. And also you are at home, there is not, you can literally design your child's day, you can literally design your child's diet and everything, diet, lifestyle, how he sleeps, how he eats, how he reacts, behaves, everything. So let this summer be that one summer that you sacrifice a little bit of time, a little bit of energy, a little bit of investment, and then you get to choose, you get to have the best life of your life. Because now, alhamdulillah, when my son, who was previously non-verbal, looks at me in the eye and then fights with me with words, demands stuff from me, I feel really happy and thankful that I spent those 1 year on his diet. I spent those 1 year, those money on his development, because a lot of the things, you know, if your child is just labeled, we sometimes accept that. We accept what we are told about our child, and then we are like, okay, this is what his destiny is, there's nothing more I can do. That's not the truth, because we are breaking boundaries every single day inside Autism Success Academy, and we know that we can help you do that as well. It's totally possible. We are doing it all the time. You can too. Try a little bit on your own, and if you are ready to join us, let me know in the comments. Say you are interested, then somebody in my team will connect with you. We will talk with you, we will listen to you, and we will build an absolute fabulous life for you. Welcome to the rest of your life. I will see you in my next live. Allah Hafiz. Bye.